talking about your tour. You're here in Germany for a bunch of shows, and most of them are sold out. Congrats on that, first of all. That is so cool and so deserved. But do you feel ready for the tour yet?
Oh my God, yeah. I'm very ready for this tour. We had about 2 months off from our last tour, and this tour has been on the books and been announced and selling tickets for ages now. So, it's just I feel over prepared if anything, which is, a good thing. But yeah, I've played this show by myself in my studio a million times now to, a crowd on my computer screen of a live video of some huge band or something just acting like I'm playing a show. I'm very ready to do the real thing finally.
That is so cool, though. Is that something you usually do to prepare for a show? Is it just you're, preparing for this show right now?
That's ever since COVID, that's been something that I've done. Back when, I've been touring full time since I was 15 years old. So suddenly not having shows after 12 years or 11 years or whatever, just playing them all the time, I just started to lose my mind. So like, I would go into my basement and take like a recorded, show, like a Beartooth show. And I would turn all the lights off and like, I don't know, open up a video of like Metallica playing in Russia to a million people, and then put my, music on and act like I'm doing a show, fully going nuts, singing, banging my head, going crazy. And then I realized, like, I mean, really, that's about as good as it gets for training for a show. So, like, that's just become part of my regiment, however long out from a tour. Just gets my voice in shape, gets me used to the show, make sure that I've, basically played the show, quote unquote, 40, 50 times before I even put it in front of people. So yeah, it's just preparation.
You just 2 weeks ago released your new song Attention, which is such a banger. Just gotta say,
Oh,
I love it. It's such a vibe. I love it. And it's all over social media, at least over mine. And so I was wondering, can you tell us a little bit about that song, like how it came to be and what it means to you?
absolutely. I mean, I really it started when we were talking about the deluxe edition, um, kind of like with my label and what we were gonna do, what I wanted to do for it. And basically, usually for a deluxe edition, you do, some live versions, some alternate versions of songs, whatever, the usual stuff, which we did. But then it's like B-sides, which are songs that essentially weren't good enough to be on the record, but then you kind of finish them out and just put them out. But I very much didn't want to do that. I said, if we're gonna do any new songs, I want to do a real full-blown single that I like put everything into and that I feel is album ready. And so yeah, I mean, I spent honestly probably more time working on Attention than I've ever spent working on a single Beartooth song. I worked on that song for about a month, just recording all these different versions and changing parts and tinkering and um I don't know, just trying to find how far to push myself and how far to push the song while it still made sense and it still got the point across. And I think one of the big points for me of the song was to kind of solidify what the point of the Surface album cycle was. Like I wanted to finish it kind of the same way I started, where we started it with Riptide, as a standalone single a couple of years ago now. And that was a very big statement of, hey, things are changing. I am changing. I am intentionally trying to change what I'm singing about. I don't want to sing another hopeless song, like very straightforward. And Attention, I wanted to end it that same way, where it's a 80s pop song, like very much meant to be influenced and obviously influenced by the 80s. And also, you know, even things in the music video, like the little keyboard at the beginning, that's from my first ever keyboard that basically got me started in this music scene with a band called Attack back in 2007. And that was my first ever keyboard. So like, you know, when I started Beartooth, I basically was like refused to ever use synthesizer or keyboard or anything electronic because, well, frankly, I was embarrassed and I felt shamed. Attack was a very polarizing band to a lot of people, and I was very young and impressionable and very insecure. And so like to me, I think using that keyboard again and like showing it, I mean, most people aren't gonna have a clue, but to anybody who really knows, it's me trying to state that like I'm very secure with who I am and where I've been, and I accept that where I've been is still a very important part of my journey. And I'm done trying to like I'm just done being ashamed of who I am and what I love. And I love pop music. I love heavy metal. I love synthesizer. I love EDM. There's so many different things that I love. I love dancing like an idiot by myself. You know, I love all this stuff. So like, yeah, and that was really the whole point of the entire album cycle. So that is the statement that Attention was trying to make. And yeah, just being unapologetically proud of who I am and where I've been. And at least attempting as much as I can to embrace that mentality. And yeah.
I love that so much. That's so cool. I didn't know about the keyword, so that is really, really such a cool fact. I love that. And you know, this song, I feel like it grabbed me so much because, especially because of the things you just said. You know, giving something a little more upbeat and something that just kind of makes you want to dance. I love that, especially with everything being kind of tough right now in the world. Um,
Mm.
Phrasing it like that. It's nice to have music that grabs you and kind of lifts you up. And I saw you actually posted, I think 2 days ago, when you went to a show for House of Protection, and
Mm.
I just read the caption and it grabbed me really. So I was wondering, could you maybe, in your own words, go a little through that experience of that night?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it changed my life. Like you know, obviously I've been going to shows and playing shows since I was 13, 14. So long, I'm 31 now, so many years, many shows. But like I was talking about before, I deal with a lot of insecurity and always have. And um it's kind of been tough lately to have put out this album. All of it was genuine, and I meant every word of all the happiness and all the change that I've gone through, but still, you know, with the highs come the lows. And I've just been going through a very difficult period in my own life, privately, and like trying to, you know, I got off social media for a very long time. I kind of had to rearrange a lot of priorities in my life and just working on figuring out myself. And you know, a lot of things that are out of my control that were really weighing on my situation and just were confusing and scary. And I went to that show, which also House of Protection is unbelievable. I love that band. And specifically Stevis, their guitar player, singer, is one of my oldest friends from the music scene. I mean, we were playing shows together when he was in a band called The Chariot and I was in Attack back in, you know, like 2009. And we did a few tours, and he's just one of my favorite people on this planet, like period. And you know, I've been listening to that EP over and over. So I really like fell in love with the songs. And it was funny because they started and I was standing off on the side, you know, just gonna stand there and watch. And the moment it kicked in, I had already bought a bunch of merch. I just like went and threw it on the ground in the corner and just went straight into the pit. And I was in the pit for the entire show. And just completely immersed in it, involved in it. You know, I nobody there gave a fuck who I was. Nobody cared. Everybody just was part of it. And like feeling that again off stage, it was a massive reminder of why I do this at all. It's because music is fucking powerful. stuff. At least for me, it changes my life. It can change my life multiple times in one day. And nothing else has the power to do that to me. And so to like have that release and that experience as a fan and as purely as a showgoer, um, it was such a good reminder of why I love music, why I love live music, the power of it. And it put into perspective truly the opera, like looking back on it, it put a lot of perspective on my opportunity that I have as an entertainer and as a songwriter and as basically somebody who has other people that actually listen to the music, which I know, a lot of people don't get that opportunity, and I feel very blessed in that. But um, it put a lot of my struggle into perspective and reminded me that there are so many things that are so much bigger than my problems and my insecurities or my issues or my points of stress. And music has always been the thing that aligned that for me. Listening to songs, getting lost in the emotion, writing songs, being able to express my opinions, things like that. But I haven't been to a show and just lost my mind in so long. So like that experience alone, like you can truly just go to a venue and you never know what band it's going to be, but it may be the show that you just leave all of this shit behind and you just leave it in the venue and it's done. And remembering that that's possible through the power of live music just made me so much more excited for this tour. And yeah, I just feel so much more blessed as a human being. So like, massive shout out to House of Protection for that and for giving me that gift. They put on one of the best shows I've ever seen. It was incredible. And it just overwhelmed me and I felt so much. I danced and cried and I screamed and I all of it. I sang and yeah, I just felt completely I was just transported to another dimension that was completely void of pain and worry. And even for 45 minutes, it was like that's all I needed to just realign everything. It was like going to therapy.
Yeah,
And
get a break.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I will say I say that on stage a lot, and it is true, that all the point of a Beartooth show really is for us to provide a safe space for people to just come in and let their shit out, however that may be. If that means they just want to sit there with a beer and just watch the show, if they want to get in the pit and go absolutely crazy, or whether they know us or don't know us, as long as there's any chance that you could just kind of get away from your shit for a little while, we feel like we've done our job. But that
Your
show
shows really
reminded me,
provide that though. Like your
yeah,
shows.
exactly. Like, oh my goodness. I feel like maybe, I've probably said that on stage how many hundreds of times, and I mean it, but I sometimes I just forget how deeply I mean it, until I live it again. And yeah, it just was a great reminder.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you said that because that's like truly, for me personally, how I feel a show should be there and just, be there with a bunch of people who love the same shit you do and just enjoy that moment. Because nowadays it's so hard to be in the moment, I feel like. And so just what you just described, just so powerful. I love that so much. Do you recall the first show that ever did that to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget. I don't remember the year exactly, but it was Ozfest in Columbus, Ohio, where I was born and raised. I was probably like 12 years old, 11, something like that. And my friend's dad got tickets through his work to this. And I remember it was Avenged Sevenfold, Disturbed, and System of a Down played back to back to back. And we got there right when Avenged Sevenfold started, and they were one of my favorite bands at the time. This is right as they put out City of Evil, which that record was one of the records that kind of changed my life. And I just will never forget it. I went in and I sat down and, they're yelling, everybody's just horns in the air going crazy and everybody's yelling fuck. And like, it's this, I don't know, it was just like nothing I had ever experienced. And it was loud and it sounded great. And they were playing guitar and I loved guitar. I was already, really into music at that point and playing. And yeah, that completely changed the trajectory of my life. Seeing Avenged and Disturbed and System of a Down, just crazy. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that. And it's such a good lineup to be at a show. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah, it was
holy
unbelievable.
crap.
It was unbelievable.
Oh, damn. Okay. So I do real quick want to talk a little more about your shows here in Germany because this year you're doing double shows, which is awesome. And I saw you also said there's going to be different set lists for the different nights. So I was wondering how hard was it to pick and choose which songs to play when?
Very. I don't know. I mean, thankfully, Ashi is for the most part the orchestrator of the set list. And like he usually comes up with like the main meat of it, and then we just kind of tinker a little bit. But it's just so hard now. And we have 5 albums, and to choose which songs, we got to condense it to like 17 songs, like for our band, nobody wants to see us play for 2 hours. Like it is such an intense, high energy show. Like after all these bands, like you're just completely wiped out. And we've done the long shows before, and we've done a lot of kind of picking and choosing and understanding our fan base and kind of listening to them. And we think we found the sweet spot. But yeah, like it's always tough because when you're doing one night, it feels like there's a lot of songs. Like there's, when we have set lists where we don't play like Hated, for example, which was still one of our biggest songs, but we have so much other material that we feel like is really important to play because we've played that song live for 10 years or 8 years, whatever it may be. But yeah, we it feels really good to have 2 different set lists because we get to play the same venue 2 times and give 2 different experiences, and we get to have 2 different experiences as well. And you know I think when it's 2 nights at a venue, it's just a little more special when it's not a completely different set list. Like all the main, we're playing the hits are the main thing, but a little more of the deeper stuff. We're really changing up quite a few songs, so I cannot wait. It's been really fun to play some of the songs again that we haven't played in a long time.
Well, we are very excited to have you. I know a bunch of my colleagues here are going to go see your shows, and they are very excited and got very jealous when I told them I'm going to get to talk to you. So I
Nice.
scored. So
Right
thank
on.
you so much for taking the time. Is there anything else you would like your fans out here to know?
Uh, I mean, truly to everybody who's supported us out here and that is listening to this, thank you for the opportunity because it is no secret that Germany is our favorite market for Beartooth, period. And like just coming out to Europe and coming out to like, I don't know, it's just surreal to put it lightly. We are an American band, and to travel this far, you just never know if it's going to work, if it's not going to work, if people are going to show up, whatever. But like over the years, we have now just this place is so special to us in a way that nowhere else on the planet is. So yeah, thank you all for the support. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share our music, for me to share my life and to share my emotion and my feelings and honestly some of the deepest parts of my soul. Um, and to then be able to come celebrate that in a live show and all just absolutely lose our shit together. That's the greatest gift I could ever be given. So thank you so much for the opportunity.